Okay, we'll just fucking FYI, Miranda, we're starting this now.
Yeah, that's fine.
This might be working. This might be working. Okay. Fuck. Almost. So everyone. Welcome back to Casual Cats, episode 12. This is the guitar edition, or one of the guitar editions we're going to be doing. This will be more of the guitar history edition because Leaky's guitar wasn't really working this time. But yes, welcome back to episode 12. Yeah. Today, I guess we're just going to kind of, we'll be fucking around a bit in this episode of the podcast. We'll kind of be talking about guitar. Me and Leaky grew up going to the same guitar teacher. So we'll talk about our journey with the instrument, what we know about the instrument. I'll play a little bit. I'll wank a little bit, as they call it. I'll just wank around a little bit. And Grim has joined us, I see.
Yes, he's trying to get at the plant, so he'll be here periodically. We get to siphon some views, hopefully, for people like kitties.
That works. That works for me.
I can.
Yeah,
we talked about music in our earlier podcast as something that we suggested that everyone kind of get into just to some degree. Like, it's very, it just feels connected to the soul a little bit. Now maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just like a music person, but like I can't really help but feel like there's something special in just like the creation and the way that we use music, whether it be like, just recreational, fucking antisocial iPod, fucking headphones, head down on the bus, keeping your anxiety at bay, or whether it's, fucking out at a wedding, dancing or at a concert, makes us move. There's been tons of fucking people have done for years for, a very spiritual connection to, certain activities and stuff. I don't know any specifically. I couldn't like name any cultures, but there's been a lot of like people dancing around fires and shit, chanting or whatever they do.
I think I was going to say it's definitely, it's a very spiritual thing. Yeah. It just the glue that holds fucking our sanity together sometimes,
There you go.
But there is something spiritual about it. I mean, like, well, we go over to Leaky's place occasionally. We did a jam a couple months ago, and I remember thinking like we were just both playing guitar, just fucking around, and you were like kind of rap singing something, and it's a form of expression, obviously, but I mean, it's a form of channeling. You're channeling, whether you're writing music, or you're just riffing stuff or wanking or whatever you're doing, with any musical instrument, it's a form of channeling, and it's a very powerful coping mechanism. I had never done therapy before, but I had always talked to people about going to therapy, and I never got myself, so I went not too long ago. And I just had a conversation with somebody, and she was like, "Oh well, you seems like you're pretty good." And we were trying to figure out like what coping mechanisms I had, and I was like, "Well, yeah, I think music, honestly, through the years, because I was quite young. I started playing guitar when I was 11, so I've been playing guitar for 21 years now. Honestly, I would have thought I'd be better now after 21 years than I am. It just is what it is. But it's helped me immensely, and I don't think, you can start at any time too, which is a great thing. There's this misconception with music, and it seems to be with guitar more than any other instrument for some odd reason, that you can't start, like it's too late. Like if you're like 40 years old, oh, I missed the boat. Fuck no, bullshit. I knew a guy, He didn't start playing until he was in his early 40s. And by that, I was probably better than him at that point because I was a teenager having played for 5 or 6 years. And he's way fucking better than me now. So I'm assuming he is. He's, so I've known a couple people like that who are just consistently like, within probably a couple of years, you become pretty proficient. But it's, I guess to sum up my point, yeah, it's a powerful coping mechanism. And there is something, I agree, there's something spiritual about music. And when you make music yourself, there is something extremely cathartic about channeling, whether it's your frustration or even good energy, good thoughts into it. Yeah, it's helped me a lot over the years. It's for goddamn sure.
And like the other thing about like being later down the road in life and picking up music, sometimes that's going to be the best way that, or those can be the best times that you'll have, like sharing that music. I hope so. I mean, hopefully this isn't lost, but when I was growing up, we had, the great grandmother's place, and the family will gather, and you'd have, one on the piano and maybe singing, and then maybe one person on guitar or something like that. And it's just like, it's this atmosphere. And, when you're with your family, there's, hopefully there's no judgment or whatever, but again, it's like, oh, like everyone remembers that, everyone's thankful for like sort of like a live entertainment that's not like a juice box or whatever, or jukebox, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I've had aunts and uncles that have released like country albums in their 50s, and again, I mean, they do what they do or whatever, but fucking our guitar teacher, our mentor,
yes.
he started when he was young, and he played his way out of high school or whatever, but
yeah,
fucking best life, probably. He's probably get the best life. I wonder how many kids he's got doing $20 for 1 hour sessions of fucking dope money.
Probably quite a few. I mean, listen, he was, to this day, as a guitar player and a musician as well that performs occasionally lately, I've come across a lot of artists like locally. He's by far, I'd say he's the second best guitar player I've ever met, probably. But like that's up there because I met a lot of different guitar players over the years. But just an unbelievable musician. But yeah, so when did we started? I think what happened. So I started when I was 11. So when I was like 9 or 10, I had a cousin, my cousin Pete, and he played the cello since he was like a little fucking kid, like probably like 6 years old or something. And he was classically trained cello player. Him and his sister. She played the violin. They were in a local orchestra here, and they were very good. The whole orchestra was actually really good, like way better than what you'd normally find in our city. And they were so good that they actually beat a lot of other orchestras out in Canada to where they got invited to go and play in Carnegie Hall, which is in New York City. So he was a very accomplished cello player, but he also picked up in his teenage years, he was a couple years older than me, guitar. And I, at the time, had just really started listening to Blink-182. They had released, what it was, Enema of the State, maybe, at that time. It would have been like 2001 or 2000. And I remember he went and he played one of their older songs, Damn It, on guitar. Now, are we going to get the copyright if I play this? It was a really simple song. I went, fuck, how'd it go?
Trying to add, we'll mix it up.
Mark and Tom, don't fucking copyright me, you dickheads. Anyway, so that he played that, and it blew my mind that he was able to like play that song for me because I just heard it on the record, and and then he showed me how he did it, and he did it. Now he could read music like fluently, but he chose to usually read guitar stuff in tablature because it was a big thing at that time. They called guitar tabs. It's like the shortened version, and he would just go on, and Ultimate Guitar tabs was like I think it's still today the most popular one. And he just pulled up Blink-182, yeah, damn it, and then he just showed me what it all meant. So he showed me that I wish I could get my fretboard here. This is my guitar. I can't really see, but he just showed me that when you got your fretboard on your guitar, and you've got on guitars, so on a guitar like this, you've got 24 frets, and you get 6 strings. So how tablature works is, for those of you that don't know, if you're on the 6th string, it's just essentially like a chart, and it'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on each string, depending on. Oh, there you go. Leaky's got his acoustic out, and depending on where you are, it'll give a note. It'll give a number on that designated string. So for this song, like "Damn It," this is on the A string or the 5th string. It would be 3 because it's on the 3rd fret. So you go, and you're hitting the 4th string open on the 2nd fret, and you're back to the 6th string, the 3rd, 5th string, back into the D string, the 4th string, and the 6th string we're on the 1st fret. So that was the first song I ever learned on guitar. Super easy, super catchy, and that's what got me hooked. And Pete got me hooked, and from there, I learned a couple more Blink-182 songs. I remember the first, because when people first start playing, when you first start playing guitar, it's really fucking frustrating. If all the things that I've endured in my life, probably trying to play this instrument consistently, I can't tell you how many times I gave up trying to play it. The first time I tried to play, I remember, so he showed me how to do this. And so then what happened was, on his guitar, this is probably like in the fall, then I asked for a guitar for Christmas. My parents got me one. I remember when I tried to do it myself, this was like shortly after Christmas, I think it was a Blur song I was trying to play, and this was some shitty fucking guitar from Sears that they got me, and the strings were like just trash on it. Like, it must have been a demo guitar out. Like, my dad must have got like the fucking guitar all the other kids were playing on, like some discount fucking thing, because he's like, he's not gonna fucking do this. And I remember I sat down at the fucking computer and I was going like that classic Blur song, and I couldn't finger the chords, right, because it was too hard on my fingers. So I was just getting the strumming down, and I was like, picture this little fat fucking kid going and then I swear to God, 2 of the strings broke. And one of them hit me right across my fucking eye. I put the guitar down, and I didn't touch it again for 2 months. I was so discouraged. I was like, this brand new, what I thought was a brand new fucking guitar, and it just attacked me. And yeah, it was really disheartening. And you'll run into that when you start playing. Maybe not that exact scenario, hopefully, but you're gonna fail.
Fear. My fear was to get whiplash. Like, every time I'm tuning the strings, I'm like, oh, no. But every time they've broken when I've tuned them, it's always been like, it's always been one of the strings that's wrapped, so not the fucking E or what's the very second bottom, B?
B, yeah. The second string.
So what'll happen is they'll just kind of like uncoil and they won't snap up. But like, I always just think like, oh, if I'm gonna tune these, snap on, just fucking lash you across the face, and you're just going like, next day you've got like a fucking Band-Aid.
That's literally what happened to me. Yeah.
What happened was trying to learn guitar. How did you mortally wound yourself trying to learn guitar? I don't know. Tight tension, string tension.
It's if that low E goes, that's when you gotta fucking watch your eyeball. You could lose a goddamn eyeball to low E. But yeah,
your nose.
You
take your nose right off. It's like,
lose a part of your face at least. Yeah. But it's it's funny because there are a lot easier instruments that people could pick up, but of course, with the guitar, there's like this like cool boy like thing with it, right? Like, you're like this cool sexy boy that plays guitar or something. Like,
rock star.
I never got that.
It's hard to be a rock star playing one of these.
Yeah. Another stringed instrument.
It's so out of tune. It's so out of tune.
What is it? It's a mini harp or something, isn't it?
Yeah, this is called a lyre, Lyre, and it's like a harp, and it is so fucked to tune. You turn one of these, like, you need a wrench to tune it. Like, they give you one or whatever, but it's just like, it's like a half a degree turn, is gonna get you like I don't know what kind of like it's a lot compared to a guitar string, and it's because the strings are short, right? And they're all tension. There's no fret, but oh my god, it's so finicky. You just like little tiny like half a degree turns, like tick, and then it's like tick, yeah, it's like way out. Holy fuck,
Oh.
it's amazing. It's amazing. Like the amount of tension on these strings will, yeah, it's kind of like an exponential thing. Because like you'll notice when you tune a guitar, if you're like, this is the heaviest string, it's thick, so it makes like the thick vibration and stuff like that. But if you tune it down, and you guys can't hear, but if you tune it down, it'll slowly lower its pitch or raise its pitch if you're tuning it up. With those things, just a little bit, and then she's way out of whack, but kind of fun. The other thing that's kind of easy that we've gotten is this like thumb piano, which a lot of people like. They're really easy to pick up, to be honest. I guess you can tune them by moving these pegs. You pull them up or push them out because it's a bit the length of the keys and stuff. But,
Okay.
yeah. Melissa went kind of crazy.
Yeah, people. Oh, there's so many different instruments you can pick up. There's harmonica. Yeah, there's there's a lot of. That's a classic combo, like the Bob Dylan, Neil Young. We got the classic. I've got the exact same thing actually. Yeah, I remember that was in one of our last season's episodes. Yeah, the fucking Lynx ocarina. Yeah, yeah. But it was, I don't know, like back when because we're, I don't know, the viewership that would end up watching the Spotify or who's watching right now. When we were kids, back in like the early 2000s, that was at the peak of like guitar hysteria. Like there was a lot of like the magazines were at their peak. The internet had really just like hit the scene. We didn't have really any guitar centers here in Canada, but on the US, like Guitar Center was like a big fucking deal. A lot of like instrumentalists like Joe Satriani and Steve Vai were really popular at that time. Like Dream Theater was kind of coming onto the scene then, and it was everywhere. Anytime you walked into any fucking grocery store or supermarket or drugstore or bookstore, you'd see all of these, and the music section was all these guitar gods and these guitar heroes, and it drew me in. And so I was in this era of like gear, the guitar gear, I guess is what it was for guitar players. Because like I'm honestly mainly an acoustic guitar player, more of a singer-songwriter, but like I grew up as like a hobbyist, like playing electric guitar and stuff, like playing with loud amps and fucking around with pedals and like that. It was a serious hobby of mine. I had to stop a couple years ago because every single paycheck was getting sunk into the instrument and the gear, and it was a terrible addiction. Like I remember I walked in, so I'll tell a story, I guess. So we're talking about guitars, so we're telling a fucking Jim Russell guitar story. This guitar here is a 1958 Gibson Les Paul reissue. It's a 2012 version. I walked into, so I went on a bad fucking spree of buying guitars. I ended up with like 6 or 7 electric guitars. And they were all worth like between $500 and $1,000. And Kijiji at this time in Canada had just come out. So people were like, for like gearheads, for like guitar people, that was amazing because you're like, oh fuck, I hate this pedal I just bought. You're like, oh, I can just trade some guy for the one I want. And so you would trade and sell and buy all this gear. So I was a fiend on Kijiji. Like I swear to fuck, I was selling multiple pieces of gear like every week. And it got to the point where I finally came to the conclusion that I have all these different guitars, but really I just want one good one. So I ended up trading and selling all of my gear to get all the money that I could. And it still wasn't enough. So I had just gotten a credit card. So I would have been like 22. And I went into, it was called Long and McQuaid Music is what it's called here in Canada. And I went in and I wanted a Gibson Les Paul. So this is the guitar. In regards to guitar history, a Gibson Les Paul is, there's 2 like guitar god guitars. One is the Fender Stratocaster, which is the one Jimi Hendrix uses. And then there's Gibson Les Paul, which is, well, I guess what Jimmy Page uses, Eric Clapton Slash uses a Les Paul. Who are some other? Joe Bonamassa, he's probably like more of an unknown musician. But anyway, I always vibe with the Les Paul. So what I always wanted, I've got big fucking hands, so I love the feeling of the Les Paul neck. I had played them at the shop for a long time at the Long McQuaid. So I went in and I talked to the guy. And I was like, "Fuck, man! Like, listen, I got this credit card. I got a $5,000 limit." So I was like, I had a bit of money from selling these guitars. I was like, well, I could probably, like, you know, like, we could cut that down a bit. So I said, can you find me? Because these things were going for a lot of money. The reissues new were like $6,500 to $7,000. Like, it's just like disgusting amount of money. They're not worth that much. But used ones were cheaper. And this one in particular was a bit of a defect because someone, now they didn't fucking tell me this until after I fucking bought it. But on the 15th fret, the fretboard is slightly raised. On this model of the 2012 reissue Les Pauls, instead of having a single piece of rosemary, of rosewood fretboard, they had two stacked together. And what happened was that it's slightly up. So on the 15th fret, it kind of catches on the E string. So I'm assuming that's why the guy brought it back. So he brought it back. It was really cheap. It was like, I don't know. It was like, I think if they wanted like $3,800 for it or something like that. So taxes there, you're looking at like over $4,000. And I just put it on my credit card and just bought it. And I regret, dude, that's probably the biggest regret I have in my life. I should have never done that. But I've had the guitar ever since then. I've had the guitar for a long time now, like almost fucking 10 years. It must have been like 2013 I did this. It was a year or two after the release of this. But so, yeah, I bought an expensive guitar. The first real expensive guitar that I bought, I put on my credit card. And yeah, that's my story about where I got this particular guitar from, I guess. And I've used it ever since. I have since then replaced almost everything you can replace on the guitar. I'm a pretty big enthusiast when it comes to Les Pauls, actually. Like, I don't know how many. I would argue with the best of Les Paul enthusiasts. I know I know a lot about them. Let's say that much. I know a lot about all the different things that have changed. About the original Les Pauls, actually, another dumb Jim Russell purchase. The pots that are in this guitar. So the actual volume knobs, they make a lot of difference to the tone in the instrument. All four of these volume and tone pots are from an original 1960 Les Paul. Don't fucking ask me what I paid for these on eBay, you fucking puke. Anyway, it's a never-ending money pit. So if you get into guitar, you know, don't get into electric guitar. That's my fucking advice. Just stick with acoustic.
I had an electric as I think it was the first one that my parents bought me. I got into guitar because I mentioned like, the family. So my grandfather played guitar. When he passed away, we had his guitar around. All the neighborhood boys were playing guitar. They were playing some like indie hippie stuff because they were all getting into weed. So they were all getting into like Fish and what other bands? Blind Melon, Dispatch. But it was, Ben Harper was one. And I remember the first song I learned was Ben Harper Burned One Down. And I don't know if that's a self-fulfilling prophecy for you or whatever, but even 427 as much as I am. But yeah, I can remember learning that. And that was, I think it was like 13. And after a month or two of playing that, my parents were looking around like, oh, there's a guitar teacher here. And eventually we talked about it at school. We're like, oh, we go to the same guy. And from there on, that was the journey. And then we would go. I remember, because I didn't do sports or anything, like when I was younger, there would be like, oh, we'll put him on the soccer, whatever, and we'll try this and that. But I was like, eh. So when I learned, or when I realized I like guitar, my parents were like, oh, fuck, finally something we can throw him in, a hobby that we can, like, that is not, N64. So they were happy and enthused about this. And I kind of saw it at first. I was like, okay, it's a cool thing. And then at the start of the lessons, I'd be kind of like, I wouldn't practice at home. So I would look at it almost like school. But then eventually, I think we're like kind of talking with you about it and kind of joking about like Mark's process. And when like when what was really going on started to like make more sense, it's like, oh, this guy, he isn't really care if I learn guitar well. He's just gonna take the money and smoke it either way, and then jam out every time I show up, provided I keep showing up. So at that point, I was like, okay, so maybe we can. I asked him to move into like teach me some more finger picking sort of stuff.
Right.
I was like, let's go that style. And then it was more of like a personal relationship with Mark then, where he would go in and I learned some finger picking stuff, and I enjoyed that because it was very like stimulating for the mind. You got like learning that muscle memory, developing, making these bad boys go the way that you want them to go. That can be that can be a struggle. You've got, and I'll tell you why. It's because of our limbic system. The limbic system it evolved with our bodies, right? It's part of one of the primitive parts of our brain and shit. So it's been around a while. So its way of directing our body to do stuff has changed along with our bodies. So if we had like wings or whatever, I don't know if we did, but like fins or whatever, like the fins kind of like what or what, yeah, you get shoulder movements and stuff. And the limbic system remembers those, and it carries it on through the system. So with our hands, and I was telling Jim about this one time, the way that our hands work with our limbic system is our limbic system says close like your hands, right? And then so you have like a grip like sensation, and then if you want to like not close one of your fingers, that is a separate signal that your limbic system is going to send, but it's going to say ignore the close hand symbol on right index finger, and that might be left on the camera or whatever. So what you end up doing is when you're like, I need these two fingers on the fretboard and then this one like on the fretboard as well, but this one needs to fuck off. Or like the pinky is a really hard one because not a lot of people have the pinky's just there before you start using it for something dexterous, right? And so that one took a really long time to get into. But once you open up this ability, this dexterity control
to move them,
holy fuck, like it's whole new world of guitar.
Well, because I can play a little bit here with that. Galen, between $500 and $600. To give you context, typically for an average CTS pot, you're looking at $5 each, and I paid $500 to $600 for 4 of these. So astronomically stupid financial decision once again. Anyway,
she goes.
Fucking way she goes, boys. I hope we don't get DCA'd for me playing this.
Awesome.
But you get into like a rhythm. I wish I could show my hands playing this. I can't really. But yeah, that's classical gas. Fuck.
Not even an MTG deck. Yeah, that's barely a standard MTG deck. Sanity thing.
I used to.
Bobby let us out of the maze. We could improv some lyrics to it.
We could sing along to it, yeah. I used to finger pick a lot. I haven't. When I was a teenager, I finger picked a lot. I used to know that whole song. I could play it. I could play flawlessly. It's pretty good at it, actually. When I was like 18, 19, I can't anymore. I fucking suck at it. But yeah, it's that's a Mark classic.
Yeah.
What's it?
See if the rhythm pattern can be caught on the camera here. So this was the first one that got me into finger picking. I still know it. They do bowstrings. So it's just like that.
Oh, is that Dust in the Wind?
Yeah, it's the same pattern as Dust in the Wind, yeah. That was the first one he taught me, and I remember once I realized, I was like, wow, because the thing with that is when you're learning guitar, there's a lot of hurdles, and one of the hurdles is like doing the thing to the timing, right? And if you can't do it to the timing, or if you don't know like how long the pause is before the next note or chord or whatever, it's very, very difficult to get that. Like, but when you know the song and you start hitting the notes, especially if it's a song that has like a lot of notes and you're reading the tablature or whatever, you're like, oh, ding, 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 and then you struggle a little bit, so it slows down, ding, 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 and it sounds like nothing. You're like, how the fuck did I do it? But then once you get into the tune, is like, and you're like, oh, okay. Once you start to hear it, then you're kind of like on your way. But with these, what was I gonna say? With like the finger picking stuff, that like just that pattern, like expanded my mind and my concept of like what I can be doing on the guitar, outside of just like playing tablature. And I think it was that probably that kicked me off into just like exploring more of like a jam sort of thing. I would say maybe that's not the best way to do it. Like you do want to keep learning songs and like challenge yourself and stuff like that, but the experimental side of like playing guitar, has been, it's so many hours of just like great times, and then you get better at it too, which is the other thing. So it's like this semi time sync, which can be, really really beneficial to like a social situation, and fucking or just a big embarrassing fucking flop. You never know. You never know. But
I've had some embarrassing flops. This is a song me and Leaky wrote together about a guy we know.
Some lines waste your time, but he's here. Smith here. Take a choke, blowing smoke, drink some beers, Smith tears, fix some planes. Working shame, see the smoke.
We can fucking jam. What the fuck we talk? We can jam. You just fucking rap. You can fucking sing to her, for God's sakes. That's how we fucking do it. That's the Smurfs Tears. That's a song. I mean, we both have wrote that, but I have an official version that I try and sing as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's yeah. No, that's a classic of ours. Yeah.
Yes, doing that in the old apartment. Fucking. Just a song inspired by beers and desperation.
Yeah. Bong rips, beers, and desperation. Yeah,
Bong rips, beers, and desperation.
Literally the memories from that adventure. Yeah. Jesus fuck.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But that's what music's all about. That's what writing songs. See, like, you don't need to be like amazing. This is the sort of thing of the misconception about playing guitar. And it took me a long time to come to terms with this too, but like, you don't need to be like amazing at guitar to like, to have fun with it, or even to be like, write good music. Like some of the better songwriters you probably know, like Bob Dylan, Neil Young, even Jimi Hendrix. None of these people were really, they weren't like, well, Jimmy was technically very good on the fretboard with like pentatonic scales and stuff, but they weren't like strict classical musicians or anything. Like they didn't have any they didn't go and play in Carnegie Hall or anything, right? Like, not to take anything away from people that do that, but it's really more like the guitar players that I vibed with always, like Billy Gibbons, Jimi Hendrix, those guys, like Jimmy Page too. It was just more intuitive. They played it was just intuitive playing. Like they had some knowledge of the fretboard, and they developed that skill over time, but you don't need much. You know a couple chords, and that's enough to have a good time. And it's enough to even write a good song, right? Like, I don't know. It's
John Mayer. John Mayer's really good at that too.
he's
that sort
very
of like just
yeah.
writing shit out of nothing or whatever.
Now he's a very knowledgeable guitar player when it comes to theory, though. But I don't know if he was originally. I don't know. I personally don't like his music. It's just
It does. It's like it's weird. He's got a different. It does seem a little bit like when I listen to John Mayer, I think that there's like this aspect of him which is like I guess his just voice is so like smooth, and the way he sings is always like this like kind of like I'm gonna take care of you, baby. Like I don't know, that kind of vibe. But
yeah.
and then so his skill with guitar, I feel like it doesn't push that. But no, like his songs sound good. Like I'll fuck with John Mayer. But I do wonder if there was like a perfect version of like a John Mayer, if he would be like it's probably just a live version of John Mayer to be I'm completely honest. But yeah, no, I feel like his guitar ability is sort of like constrained in his like actual recordings. I think he's probably one of those artists that's just like his live is probably much better. Jack White's another one who's just like fucking insane.
Yeah.
A lot of I like a lot of Jack White's recordings and White Stripes and stuff. It's all slap, as they say, or whatever. And then he's also very good live and extremely innovative. He's done so much actually since I stopped keeping up with him though. So like I don't know. I mean,
I feel
genius,
like
but...
there are periods in these musicians' lives though where I feel like what they're channeling is like there is a peak time, and like when they're channeling like good information. And I mean, I think a lot of that honestly is a lot of it comes out of desperation. I found personally, like when you have those feelings and like when you feel like you're writing better stuff. Not that I'm like an accomplished musician like any of those guys, but I probably like they become too successful though at some point, like, and you get too comfortable, and then what you're writing isn't really that good anymore. And then the other thing too is like you kind of start to like to smell your own shit. Like you develop this style and you adhere to it, and the public kind of like wants you to adhere to the style. Like Billy Gibbons is an example. Like for ZZ Top, like they wrote most of their music when they were like probably like 20 to 40. And that's actually that's a long time. Most musicians burn out way before that. Like their good stuff is only a couple years usually. But after that, they just kind of became a meme of themselves. And then everything they wrote after that was just kind of a meme of what they wrote before. With John Mayer, I found that he wrote like the first song that got him famous was that Your Body is Wonderland, which is just like, classic, like girls like love that song. Like, it's kind of, your body is wonderland, like sexy man voice.
Use my hands.
I use my... Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole thing. And I feel like, I like he's a good guitar player, but I like from a guitar player's perspective, he's good. He's technically really good, and he has pretty good feel. I don't know. I just don't vibe with the soul of his playing though. It doesn't seem. There's something about it. I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't resonate with me. I mean, who the fuck am I really in comparison to him? He's pretty well known player, but I like to think associating with the other guitar kind of. I hate using this term, but gods like the Jimmy Page, the Billy Gibbons, the Jimi Hendrix. Those guys just there was a character about their music that just I don't know. He doesn't really have, but he's still very good, obviously. He's technically more knowledgeable than all those guys. So, he has that at least. Well, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
who else was someone that was like inspiring? I know like Bob Dylan was very inspiring. I spent a lot of years listening to just Bob Dylan. And as far as like, I'm trying to stick to just like guitarists. In the vein of John Mayer, there's Dallas Green, or City in Color, or whatever. He's almost like I put him almost like similar genres that just like girls must like this. Girls must like this music or whatever. We'll put this on. We'll attract some girls.
I love Dallas Green though. Yeah, like personally,
Yeah.
like Dallas Green. I love his music. His music. I feel like there is some soul to his music though. Like I don't know many of his songs. I know.
Yeah. What's the one I'm thinking of? It's something about a box. Like
There's Sleeping Sickness, which Gord Downey
Sleeping
was a
Sick-
good one. That was one. That was probably my
Sickness,
favorite one
okay.
he did. Someone's gonna save my life. There was one. I'm coming home.
Mm.
Oh fuck, I don't know. Yeah, I forget the other ones.
Coming home.
But he's
there's
got a
one,
good tone.
it's like Body in a Box, I think. Is a
Oh,
good-
but yes, yeah.
Yep. Yes, all of these I've listened. Man, I've said this before. I might as well restate it now since it's a musical podcast. Like my music, my library of music has not evolved like at all. I guess my knowledge of like artists has evolved, but I have not downloaded or added music to my library. I think the one thing that I was listening to a lot recently was Flying Lotus. It was the Yasuke theme. Like he did a soundtrack for an anime, and it's like the whole thing. I just fucking love it. But it's Flying Lotus. There's not a lot of guitar in Flying Lotus.
Well,
But
yeah,
yeah.
whatever. I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah. What else?
There was like for me, like I'm kind of like as like a traditional guitar player, I don't listen to any guitar music. All I've honestly been listening to the last little while is Mark Ribley or whatever his name is.
I was just going to mention that.
That's literally who I fucking listen to. I love that shit so much. Like the idea that he has this mix pad. He's just an inspirational guy. He's just so himself. He's kind of like, I think we all want to be like that, where we can just be ourselves completely. And on top of that, like he's really fucking technically good too. Like musically, he's so on point with like the drops and stuff, to where he can go out in front of a crowd of like a couple thousand people in his underwear with a fucking like looper pedal on his fucking MacBook and throw together these sick fucking beats. That's what I'm listening to though. As a singer-songwriter who writes music and performs, that's who I'm fucking listening to. Like that's who I'm into. Like I don't know of any singer. I mean, I've heard them like even locally, but like it doesn't interest me. That seems to be where music's going. I am worried to some degree guitar is like an archaic like instrument, and that we've moved into this digital space where with, you know, even with this AI art stuff lately, like I'm assuming like we're going to get like musical, like you'll be able to play a guitar from a fucking keyboard soon that'll sound just as real as any fucking like guitar hooked up to some vintage setup. Like it's going to be
You can
indistinguishable.
do that to a degree right now. I think you can switch your keys on piano to do plucks of guitar strings. It's just to get like, and there's
yeah.
software that would probably like work the resonation in and stuff. Like
It's
that.
not. I'll flick on here. I'm gonna flick on this electric guitar thing. So this might be a little bit loud. Hopefully, it's not too loud for
I'm
the
just gonna get some
viewership.
coffee.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm using for him is wondering. I'm using this thing called Ableton Live, and they've got a guitar simulator called Amplitude. But But there's a tone. I mean, this is obviously a digital amp, so it's kind of we're already there where I'm not using a real amp anymore. Like so this is wanking, but where we're gonna get soon is where you'll be able to just you won't need an into guitar to sound like a guitar anymore. Like there's a tone you'll get like for guitar players, like this Les Paul. The pickups I have in here are recreations of something called PAF pickups. So again, this might be too technical for some people that aren't familiar with this, but the old Les Pauls that like Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin and Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top played, essentially all of the old electronics that these instruments are made up of were remnants from the World War II. So when World War II happened, the whole country, like all the United States, was involved in creating really high quality wire. There were high quality nickel. Like the quality of the components, even like tubes back then, like tubes for like TVs, they were unparalleled even today. So because there was so much behind the creation of those things and they had to be so perfect. So the guitars back then, like the Les Pauls, all their components were of the highest quality because they were using bits and pieces from the war. So what's happened in more modern times, these guitars, like this reissue Les Paul that I, bought, it isn't quite as good. So for instance, this is an interesting tidbit here on guitar history with Leaky and Jim. An original 1959 Les Paul, which I actually have a picture of on my phone. I'll show you it here while I'm telling the story. Original, so it is the most valuable guitar in the world. They are the most expensive guitars, the original ones. They go for, see, I wish I got the price tag in this picture. They go from anywhere from $500,000 to $2 million for these Les Pauls. So I'll show you a picture. I was in Las Vegas a couple years ago. See, this is going to look terrible here. This was down the street from Pawn Stars, actually. This guitar. It's not really shown out well. That is a 1959 Gibson Les Paul, which is a holy grail of guitars. So for electric guitar players, that is the best guitar ever made. That's what Jimmy Page used. That's what Eric Clapton used. That's what Billy Gibbons used. That's what Slash used a recreation of to record the Appetite for Destruction, Guns N' Roses album. And what made those guitars, so I'll get a little bit nerdy here right now. What made those guitars sound good, I think, is the wire that they use to wrap the pickups around. So your pickups kind of it's essentially a magnet, and they wrap this wire around the magnet. And then it hooks into your volume pots, and then that goes into your cable. And what made this guitar sound so good is the quality of the wire. It was softer. It was just better quality. So this is, I guess, like you can't really hear this because you can't hear the electric guitar, but for people listening, even for these pickups, which are high quality recreations, there's a sharpness, like a brittleness to the, like there's a harshness to it. There's a harshness to it. So what people will pay $500,000 to $1 million to $2 million for is literally these rolled off highs. But as a guitar player, when you hear one of these things through a loud amp, the difference, it is pretty astronomical, the difference that it makes. Anyway, that's just a little bit of guitar history with guitars in general. Same with Jimi Hendrix's setup. The reason, this is one of the mysteries as to why all of these bands back in the 60s and the 70s, like why they thought the music was better. It literally sounded better because the quality of the components they were using in their amps, in their pedals, in their guitars was better because it was stuff from the war. And nowadays we're using poor recreations of it, and it technically doesn't sound as good. Now with some digital enhancement, you can get close, but it's like standing in a room with someone, like it's like standing in the middle of a huge like cathedral playing acoustic guitar and singing. The echo you're going to get off that is not something an echo or reverb pedal can recreate accurately. The original is going to sound way fucking better. So you can try and recreate this with like digital modeling, but right now you can't quite do that. But what I'm saying is soon with this AI tech, I think we're going to get to the point where it will become obsolete. And finally, we will be able to play electric guitar through these modulation devices, and maybe even just play electric guitar not without the guitar in our hands on a piano, and it'll sound it'll sound really fucking good without having to spend all this money. So that's my theory on what's going to happen with the guitar tech soon, that it is all going to go digital. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But
I can riff on what I think is going to happen in the ad space with this AI and music.
yeah.
So right now, streaming music is like how you do it. Thus, me not downloading any music to my library in like fucking 10 plus years. So what I've seen so far with AI, and this was like months ago too, is they've been finishing this song. So they play the first 30 seconds of a song, and it analyzes the first 30 seconds, and then it finishes it, right?
Mhm.
So this is without any like it's not I guess it's not trained on the full song. It might be previously trained on music or something like that. I mean, so I don't know, but the result, and I don't know if this was like first try or whatever, but you know, it'll improve, was basically like not, it wasn't the exact same, but it sounded like it keeps pace with the song, and it's in the same like venue of like you might not, if it was in the background, you might not notice that the song had changed at all, right? So what I think is going to end up happening is you're going to get these playlists that are made, and the AI is going to be like, okay, so here's a song, and then maybe the next song is this song. It's going to analyze them both, and then after song A at the start ends, the AI will generate like an outro that's based off of song A. It would be an intro to the ad, I guess, which would be based on song A. And then you would have, in the singer's voice of the song that you were just listening to, lyrics that basically are promoting a product, right? Your advertisement, your advert.
Jesus, yeah.
And then it would outro into an AI-generated clip of music that is going to lead into your next song. So that, and they'll market it, of course, as like, oh, your music never ends. It's great stuff. But really what's happening is you're just passively listening to music and getting subliminal suggestions to purchase products or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now, I think it'd be cool for like, but I don't know. Now, of course, there's ad blocker, right? How's ad blocker going to do that? Well, it's going to cut out the transitional track that the AIs would create, maybe, I guess. So you don't get any of those transitional tracks. I don't know, but maybe that could be the savior. Maybe ad block just advances along with the technology and it keeps it in check. That would be probably good. Fucking, but I almost guarantee we're gonna see advertisements blended into media. It could even happen theoretically with like cartoons and shit. Goku's about to Kamehameha, come man,
Coca-Cola.
and no VPN.
Yeah,
Oh,
NordVPN
you
is
la la
right,
da la.
Yeah.
And Frieza's like,
Yeah.
Goku, why are you talking about NordVPN?
Yeah.
Goku,
Yeah.
Go Kakarot, have you downloaded Grammarly yet? Oh, just, Vegeta gets like evaporated.
Holy fuck, yeah. Yeah, literally.
That hurt my voice.
It was a good Vegeta impression, though.
It takes all the power I have to do a Vegeta impression. I actually
Yeah.
I did impressions at 8 times gravity
my God.
for months, right? For months
Prepare for
to be
this,
able to do it.
yeah.
And just that wipes me out, right? It's my
Holy
trump
fuck.
card.
That'll fucking do it. I mean, I think like pop music for a long time was essentially just walking advertisements. So like any Katy Perry video on Much Music or MTV, like that, it was just, they were all fucking like they'd all flash these, you know, brands that they'd wear. Rappers too, right? They're wearing the fucking like whatever's Adidas or brands of clothing and cars, and they were all advertising shit. It's like, yeah, I can see that happening now. That's why I like Mark Ribley. I always stutter and fuck his name up. I don't know how to say his last name, but I love I feel like that is where music is going though. It's just this free, like, expressive, like, I don't. It's like it's literally what he's doing is a form of channeling. Like I posted a clip to our Discord not too long ago, and he was in this bar in Austin and he used to play in, and he just started going into this skit about this guy, about like Martha and like Bob or something, whatever his name was, but like that they were going through this divorce. And that she opened up his phone and started to found some girl's tits on there, and they were literally in the midst of unpacking their house, and she just freaks the fuck out. And then Tom or something, and then he just cuts into after she blows up, and he would do her voice, or like a voice like pitch enhancer on his loop pedal, and then he'd do like his regular voice for like Tom or whatever, and then after he's like, Tom's in jail, Tom's in jail, or Tom's in trouble. And he'd go into the fucking song, and I it's like he's telling the story, but it's just so erratic, insane. I was like, this guy is like the Picasso of like modern music, and like it just, I don't know, it's just so free, and it's literally a form of channeling, and that's what music is anyway. Like, if I try and go write a song, or in the past, I just sit and think about it and put it together. But he's just fluidly making these things. And I've shared some of his stuff before with like Leaky and other people in the Discord, where like he'll just get like stoned and drunk as fuck, and he'll just go and do like these like live streams, and he'll just get into these grooves with some of these songs. And he's clipped these songs out. They're awesome fucking songs. Like they're like 4 or 5 minute long songs, but they're wicked fucking songs. And he just literally just channeled himself into this. So he's got himself to the point now. He's an accomplished pianist. I can tell by how he's playing piano. Like he's like classically trained. So like he knows what he's doing, like musically, like notationally. Like he knows how to like get into the key of what he's doing and then express himself. Like for me, I always struggle with getting into like the pentatonic scale. Like a lot of guitar players in that headspace where you have a hard time fluidly like really shredding up the fretboard to anything. But like he's mastered that, and he's mastered himself into where he just channels himself into the music, which is really, I think, the ultimate goal of any musician, like artist, is to be able to do that. And he does it flawlessly live. So like that to me, and to be able to do that, and he's able to do that because he can create this ensemble of all these instruments. Like he's, honest to God, a modern day digital Mozart. That's literally what he is, because he's got this symphony at his fingertips. And not only is he creating like a symphony of music, he's incorporating like elements of comedy. He's incorporating every element of himself into it. We've come to like a pinnacle of artistic expression with this, to where like even Mozart wouldn't have been able to incorporate all these elements of himself into his symphonies. Like he'd be able to think of all of the different like, parts these other instruments could play. But he's just gotten this perfection down, really. And it's inspiring. And there's tons of super well known now, like, tons of musicians, I'm assuming, have looked at him and been like this is what I always would want to have been, is to be able to express myself to that degree in every way. He's the artist. I'll stop sucking his dick in a second, but like it's just he's it's good. You know what? I never listened to The Doors, but that Jim Morrison, I remember there was a quote or an interview maybe that I saw of him back in the day where he foresaw that like the dream is like being able for one musician to be able to like be their own band. And he kind of had it. He kind of had this in his head where he was like, that is the ultimate goal, is to be able to fucking like be the band yourself, and to be able, he saw the potential for people to completely and fully express themselves, musicians in particular, when they had access to that information completely. And Marc Rebillet has fulfilled that, and he's become that. And yeah, that's who, I don't know. I think that's the future, personally. That's my personal interpretation of that. Which is shitty because we're talking on this podcast about the history with the guitar, and kind of go about guitars in general. And we're saying that the future, there aren't really any guitars in them. But I think there'll always be a place for the instrument because it's fun and it's cool.
Yeah, so like I was thinking, well, I was getting coffee there. It's like there's kind of two worlds. There's like there's like the world of the musician. There's the world of like the musician who's creating music, and then there's like the tools in which they use, which are the instruments, and then you
Yeah.
have like the master of the instrument. So then there's the world of guitarists and the world of clarinet and the world of or you can even like you can break it down, and like the world of guitarists is an offshoot of the world of musicians, so that's where your link is. So I think like they'll still be relevant as long as there's people that want to play it, because it's got something to where back to like the limbic system or whatever. Once you learn how to do that, you enjoy doing it, right? You enjoy producing, you enjoy playing. So as long as people enjoy playing the guitar, they'll choose to make music with a guitar. They may have a loop pedal and a laptop right beside them, and it may be like they play a thing. And like, who is that guy that does that? Don't even talk about Buckethead too much right now, but he doesn't do that. Who the fuck am I thinking of? Anyways, you know them. They will just loop, guitar stuff.
well, like,
Fuck! I just heard.
Ed Sheeran was one guy that used to do it.
Ed Sheeran, who does "Freaker" by the Speaker. Oh my God, "Freaker" just by the speaker. Never seen
I
the
don't know,
good,
No, actually.
Oh my God, yeah. So I saw him live once. There's another guy too. He doesn't do loops, but he's like John Gom. He'll slap the guitar and he'll like tune down while he's doing it, and he's like doing all these.
Oh, the
stuff,
guy
finding
does
different-
The Ocean was one some guy did. You ever see that? Yeah,
yeah, I've
the
seen
dreads.
him. He's like, yeah, like finding new ways to play the instrument and express like, in that, like, because that is still an art. Playing the instrument is nice. Yeah, making music, is like the product of the sound that it can produce is gonna be finite to its wavelengths or whatever, and it's its timing and all that stuff, but the actual enjoyment that people get out of like performing on the guitar and stuff like that, and watching people perform on the guitar and stuff like that, and even jam sessions too, right? Like you can't,
Yeah.
it's harder to do a jam session if like 90% of your actual like music creation is like the loop pedal kind of going
Digital.
off, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
right,
like,
yeah.
well, it does help though, I suppose too, in some cases, because you can just have a loop, like get the piano to do a loop thing, and then the drums and everything. Like I saw one with Mark Ribley and Anthony Fantonio.
Yeah, I saw that.
Again, what were they? They were doing just trying to get into the club or whatever, and so he's yeah, so it does work too. So, but I know. And then I guess he did do one with Reggie Watts and Flying Lotus, and that one was good too. So
I said a bit of
I
that,
guess
yeah.
jamming is possible like that, but
It's-
you can pick up a
yeah.
guitar like this for like what, $450 new, something.
Well,
like
you
this.
get one. You
This
get
is a mini.
used. You get used acoustic guitars for $100. Yeah, $50
Ta-
even. Yeah, but that Taylor Mini, yeah, they're a crown jewel. For anybody that wants to get into guitar, maybe we should talk about this a little bit. But for anybody that wants to start playing guitar, that's probably what you want to buy. Because remember, you came to me a couple of years ago and were like, "Well, what can I buy?" And I was at that time, my cousin Pete, who got me into guitar, had just bought a baby Taylor, which is even smaller than that. It's a travel guitar, and he's a very proficient guitar player too. He's just as good or he's better than I am. He's a better musician than I am by far. But he had that baby Taylor he kind of fuck around with anywhere he went. And I played it and I was like, fuck, this is good. I was like, I don't know how many, it's obviously a mini acoustic, but it was fucking loud. Like, and you could bring it on an airplane. It was small enough. So after playing that, I was like, man, like these Taylors are great. This little, and so you asked me like, what should I get? And I was like, well, like full size Taylor's a big guitar. They're $1,000. I was like, the baby's a little bit too small, like for you, because you want to jam out. But that mini Taylor, it's fucking perfect. And if I buy another acoustic guitar, I have my dad's acoustic guitar I've inherited here. But if I were to buy another one, I probably would buy the Taylor you have. That's those mini Taylors or a mini Martin, or a Canadian equivalent is called a mini Seagull, is what they're called. The Seagull guitar is what I've got, a full size one. Acoustic, but they're all amazing guitars for people starting out. Or just not even starting out. They're just amazing guitars in general. But if you're starting out, that's a good place to start, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give buying advice on this advice this episode of Casual Cats, but that's a good guitar to start with, I would say. But in regards to Mark Ribley and like jamming, I have to say I'm not proficient at all with like looping and like, you know, playing electronically, but if playing with a drummer and a bass player as a guitar player at full volume, there are a few things as a musician that will give you an adrenaline rush more than that, especially if they're good. I had the privilege to play with an extremely good bass player who was a very good friend of ours, and probably the best drum player I've ever met that I know that unfortunately doesn't play drums really that much anymore. And it was unbelievable. And we recorded a couple songs. You can find some of our music that we recorded. These were just kind of almost demos we recorded years ago now. You can find it on my Spotify linked below here, our Nakin page. But, you know, it's so good. There is an energy you get from three people expressing themselves through three different instruments. Or 4 or 5 or how many bands you have. But it's
coordinating too. Coordination.
Yeah.
When it all gets in sync and you're like, oh, this all timing, it sounds good.
Yeah. It's a tribal feeling. And to do it, to be in that and doing it, it's almost like going to war. Like there's like some weird especially drums give you that. And people who are very good at drums are able to kind of recreate that sensation. And like that's deep in our genes, I think. Like we've used drums for thousands of years, mainly for going to war or being in war. But if you with a competent drummer, it just creates like such a energy. And yeah, I don't think it'll ever be replaced. I shouldn't say that. But I think, well, obviously what Mark is doing is revolutionary, and for the human spirit I think is really important because it's just a pinnacle of expression. But yeah, still as a guitar player playing with like a band is still, or anyone that just watches live bands who are competent, there is an energy there where as opposed to one person expressing themselves completely, if you can get 3 people that are expressing themselves almost completely, it's still pretty fucking powerful to hear that. So but yeah, it's an addictive thing. You lose your hearing though. Just be careful.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose your hearing. Like that's use ear protection. Over the years, I wish at this point I've used ear protection more frequently than I have. Unfortunately, drummers will destroy your hearing protection with cymbals if you don't wear hearing protection when you're close to them. So yeah.
That'll happen.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What else? I'm beyond music. From like the market of music, also video game music. I love, and that's another thing that like, when you're musical, when you pick up a talent, when you pick up an instrument and you can start to play these things, it's not just like creating your own music or playing, but like it's not just like creating your own music, but you have this ability to play like this sort of ambiance sets. And you know, I'm always, there's all this nostalgia that you can pull back from either like you know, maybe you got movies and you're just the soundtrack to the movies, or a certain anime. I remember there was that one anime.hack sign and it had that like do 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 do, and so I was like, oh man, that's a cool song. Learn that song. And so you've taken this thing, which like it would probably be pretty hard to find a recording of that song. Maybe, I mean, I guess you could just buy it and listen to it, but like you can recreate it. I guess back in the day, okay, so back in the day it was a special thing because you were not be able to find these video game songs or whatever. Like you had like what, LimeWire, Aries or something. Like you were like, I want the Zelda music, and it's like, okay, here, and then you know you don't know what you're getting sometimes. So, so the ability to listen to you know, a melody or something, then recreate it, play it on a different instrument, give it like a new life, in like just like a song that you can play. That's really neat because it's kind of like you can take the music with you in your pocket, and like so it travels with you now, instead of just being like on an iPod or on a CD or like at home on the in the vinyl section or whatever. Now it's wherever your instrument is, right? And wherever you and your instrument are. So now you have that. Now, and that may seem mundane in nowadays where we all have our phones with 25 gigabytes of storage space and, fucking, internet connection to artificial intelligence that can generate fucking tracks within 2 minutes and then pair it with a Bluetooth giant speaker. And then an AI bot that dances also to it. It's a robot that does like a cool dancing thing or whatever while it's playing. And maybe that's the life of the fucking party every goddamn time. Maybe you sitting out back by the bonfire in that fucking dirty lawn chair with the beer, playing guitar. Maybe no one wants to listen to that. But back in the day, that was where it was. That's where you lived. And I don't know. It's remnants of that like hearth thing. I know we've talked about this on the hearth from last podcast too, so it's kind of broken recordy, but
no, I think it's important. It's important to bring that back. Yeah.
And and fucking
that was something that we lost. Yeah, that was something that Randall Carlson's talked about and Stephen Fry have talked about, the loss of the hearth. That we've lost the hearth, where like people would traditionally come back at the end of a day, or maybe like once a week, they'd sit down with their family around the campfire and just tell stories. And there was somebody's job to pass along these stories within a family. And I think some people still have that, but like my family didn't on either side of like both of my mom and my dad's side. No one ever did that really. Like, there was no keeper of knowledge. Like, our culture I think what happened in the new world when people came over from the old world is they kind of got fucked and broken. Like, some Native American cultures, I think, are still keep this tradition going because they've been here for so long and they still pass down this knowledge. Thank God for them, by the way. Some knowledge that I'm particularly interested in. But, we've lost, like, our own heritage almost. And like, even like, back my people were from Ireland, all of them. And all those Celtic stories with the Fae and Fairy and the Tuatha Dé Danann and the gods there that came down and helped the people, toil, farm the land and stuff. And we lost all of that when we came over here. And there was a hearth that was present that allowed these elders to sit and speak with the youth and educate them on this history. And we've lost that history. And that's happened for a long time now. Like, that's been, I don't know how many generations it's been, 4 or 5 generations probably, that we've been disconnected from that history from our ancestors. And that has impacted our perspective on the world. And it's music too. Music was a huge part of that. That's something that would happen naturally at the hearth. I mean, these stringed instruments go back a long ways. I mean, the guitar goes back into the 1500s at least. The lyre, the lute goes back until the Middle Ages. There were depictions of the Anunnaki on these Sumerian cylinder seals playing stringed instruments. So that's 5,000 fucking years ago. So music's been a part of human culture for a long fucking time. 5, 6 plus thousand years ago at least. So with stringed instruments in particular, I'm assuming singing has gone back even longer, right? All the guitar and stringed instruments and birds, yeah. all the guitar ever was meant to do is imitate a human voice, right? When people are playing solos, when they're like, it's to simulate the human voice. That's really what a solo and a guitar and a song by a guitar is doing. It's simulating the human voice always. Even chords and stuff too. Like that's what they're doing. That's what we're doing.
I remember the day that I learned what scat singing was, and it was strangely close to the day that I learned what scat porn was, and so it was always I could never separate them.
Fuck.
I mean, I do. I mean, because I like the scat, like I don't know. I vibe with it. I'm like, man, fuck. It's
now
like,
you just picture,
it's kind of like tongues in a sense. Like I feel like scat is tongues with like onomatopoeia, like kind of like you just like going, but with just like sounds. And I don't know. There's definitely more to it. Like I forget who it was. It was our music teacher there that was talking about some female scat artist who was like the best at it. I forget her name, of course, but yeah. Not to make it seem like it's like child's play to do like good sounding scat music, but yeah, I can never you can never separate scat music from the other scat. I was like, oh my god, I wished it was a different term. But,
Big
you know,
big
whatever,
gooey
just
dump.
big gooey like.
I was just unfortunate.
Goblin scat.
I was
yeah.
just unfortunate. I just scrolled past a picture of some guy shitting in some other guy's mouth, and I was like, okay, then we're done for today.
Yeah.
On that note,
I'll do it. Oh, itchy. God.
probably gonna get a copyright strike for playing all this, but no one will find us anyway. It's a song by a guy who really inspired me when I was a kid. It's Matt Good. Fuck. It's called Born Losers. But it's that simple, right? Like, it's a simple fucking song. Like, he's doing a G chord, an A minor chord, a C chord, and like some suspended F chord. And then he just sings over it. And I mean, even that combination is kind of generic in a lot of pop music. He goes into A minor, C, G, back to the suspended F major.
Oh, I guess
Minor.
Song covers usually fall under fair use.
Oh, do they actually?
So yeah, so
Oh,
as
fuck.
long as you're not like singing along to I mean top thing on Google. As long as you're not singing along to like their instruments, the original instruments, then typically it's fair use. Freedom. The freedom to create. That's what we want. Yeah. We're pushing this creation theme, which is great because in this era we've been fucking around a lot with these AI generation things, and we talked about it in regards to visual art, and talked about it briefly in regards to music. But I mean, I don't know, like, sort of feels like with the it's not resurgence, but with the surgence, with it like showing up,
Yeah.
it sort of puts this pressure on for like creation, where it's like, oh, humans got to create more, like it's a race now, to see who's more valuable with creating and stuff. And it's scary because it's like, well, this AI, is it gonna win? I mean, with some of those pictures we generated today,
Yeah.
it's like, for that one where I said like Goku indecisive about destroying the world or whatever. It was like a
Yeah.
4-year-old trying, and we tried to input like birds fleeing, and it literally looked like it fucking like crop tooled a fucking bird out of the thing and just pasted it on like a dusted thing. So there's some, there's still some.
I'll see if I can
things to work
share. I'll see if I can share one of these images.
If I turn my camera off, it'll show the Order of the Swollen Kezu one, won't it? Let's check this. Oh no, it's
I'm
just
trying
gonna
to
be small.
see where the one is that we shared. Oh, here, hold on. This is the extra images. Oh, we don't want to show anything inappropriate. But
BC
fuck,
Criminals AI.
it's not really. You can kind of see the one that we made here. I'll just kind of blow it up in the background, but
Oh, the Monster Hunter World 2.
yeah, the Monster World 2. But that was an interesting one that we did, a little bit off topic here, I guess, but in regards to like music being shaped by AI in the future. That was originally, there was a giant like creature here. Actually, I can probably find that just a second because I got all this stuff set up here now. We just had a couple not safe for work images that were generated by this fucking of Joe Rogan, actually, of all people, not safe for work. Never thought I'd say that.
He never got his eyebrows consistently, I noticed, though. He had all different varieties of eyebrows. Joe Rogan with, again, what's that guy's eyebrows? They just look like caterpillars. They mentioned
So
earlier that every show he's in.
so that was the original photo there that we had, and we had tried to generate a Rathian from a Monster Hunter game, and there was a guy there in the water. You can me and Leaky's frames kind of in the front of it a little bit, but that was the original photo. And then what we did was we wanted to change that, so I went back and I gave it some different prompts. So it's called in painting. So what we did is we in painted the image. Oh fuck, see, now I've just made this too big now. We in painted the image to change the Rathian. So what in painting is in this AI stable diffusion web UI is you just select essentially what you want to change, and then you type in a prompt and it will replace it. So what we ended up getting was, with the replacement, was a bunch of fog, and then we replaced it once more. We get a little mountain down here on the right, and then we kind of turned that into some more in painting, some volcanic clouds, and then I added in some lightning, and we cleaned it up a little bit, and then we changed the character down to the bottom to where he looks like he's wearing more like Monster Hunter kind of garb. So we created this image from nothing. And we upscaled it, so you can upscale it as well. So we upscaled it to IMAI beep boop, yeah. So we upscaled the image to where it will work as like almost like a desktop background, but very realistic. It blows my mind. See, like all the guys just like making all these like half-ass like naked girls. That's not what's interesting with this stuff. This is what's interesting. This artistic creation, this. And even what we did here specifically, we were able to go in, like, we're both not competent artists at all, like, but we were able to make this by being creative with the tool, and we ended up with a result that is sick. I don't know. I love it. Yeah. It, like, I can see myself getting lost doing stuff like that, like making these incredible images. Like I could see myself going and like editing like the volcano to where there's more fire coming out. The lightning is more prolific throughout the image. Stuff like it's very cool. I'm hopeful when it comes to that stuff. When it comes to the unstable diffusion crowd, which is what the porn side is calling themselves, that is going to be a sickness and it's going to be a problem. But anyway, that's not the point of this fucking conversation right now. We're talking about
music.
Music.
Yeah, AI gets a hold of music, and then like your pop music industry. So I'd imagine we're going to see artists starting to use AI to generate their backgrounds. So you're sort of, it's going to start cutting out middlemen. It's kind of scary. I don't want to get too much into the downside of it, because it's like it parallels the general automation taking jobs sort of thing. But like you would have people that just like make, whether it's just like producers or what, I don't know what their job title is, but they just like make beats, right? That's how Kanye West started, I think. They make beats for people to rap over, and then so an AI just does that now. So those guys don't have jobs anymore. But maybe those guys can rap over the AI beats, right? So because like no one needs to pay. So now everyone's a potential artist. So now you get SoundCloud that can go big with AI, but everyone's using AI. So how do you pick who's good? AI things. So then you've got, still goes pay to play. Still goes what's the other thing there, marketing, whatever's marketed the best, and all of a sudden someone who doesn't have access to AI and just has a little guitar there, how do they get into the scene for making music? It becomes just a hobby, unfortunately.
Well,
unless they're amazing songwriters and
but then they're just going to take your then they're just going to take your song and they're going to clip it and sample it and rap over it.
Yeah.
And nobody,
yeah, so it's a hard thing right now, and I don't know, like just create and get competent musically and I I know the AI is like Rocco was saying that it just in the months that it's been around, it's advanced to like these levels. Can only imagine that like 2 years from now, like how could we how I don't personally see I guess like you would have human creation, AI assisted human creation would be what is at top of the market, hopefully. Not just standard, not just basically AI creation. But then a year after that, all of these AIs are now analyzing all of the products of creation that came from the sort of like human assisted market, and they're improving themselves on that. So the next like innovation or next like version, next update to all the AIs is the best, like is like at the level of the best level of human creativity. And then at that point it's like that's when I get kind of concerned about it. This is general about creativity and stuff, but then we start to like lose the ability to make stuff. So I don't know. Learning how to play an instrument could help us hold on to that, and help that part of our brain sort of stay active. Now, of course, is it our lifetimes that we got to be worried about? No, but maybe the kids. You know,
well,
I mean,
listen,
if a generation of people stop playing guitar because they can just play guitar on the thing or whatever, then
it'll become a forgotten craft. Yeah, well, that could very likely happen. There'll always be, you know, I mean, people, but the problem is with the sampling of the music. Like, it might be a little bit of fuzz here because I'm going to kick on this electric guitar again. But, you know, I've heard this a lot lately where these guys are sampling these old rock songs like constantly and rapping over them. I forget what the fucking example was actually that I heard most recently, but it pissed me off, whatever it was. And it was someone fairly well known. Fuck.
I think it was the Rickroll in the, what was it? It was the Rickroll song that he used.
Well, there was the Rickroll. There was a Young Gravy guy with the Rickroll, but there was another one there was another guy that did another rock song, but I forget what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I can hear these things. Like I've learned all these fucking songs. Like I learned with our old guitar teacher. Like fuck, I must have learned like 5,000 fucking songs. I've forgotten almost all of them, but like somewhere in my brain, they're still in there. Like those riffs, like the that's The Ocean by Led Zeppelin. But like those riffs. Now the funny thing is that Led Zeppelin stole a lot. I shouldn't say they stole, but they definitely borrowed a lot of those riffs from like older blues guys. It's called Bring It On Home, but that that riff as well is kind of very reminiscent of some old like blues songs from like the 30s that Jimmy Page borrowed from. And they were criticized a lot for doing that even back in the day, but you know, it's a little bit different to reinterpret something like than to just blatantly take it and then rap over it and buy the rights to it. Like it takes skill to reinterpret a song, right? Like to do what he did, like that is still his own original interpretation of X, Y, and Z blues song that he grew up listening to. But to just literally take the rights to something and then mumble over it and kind of mumble over it poorly is just disrespectful to the track, honestly. As a musician, that shit fucking pisses me off. We haven't had any like, aside from the Rickroll song, I mean, I hope these more, these guitar gods don't sell the rights to their music willy-nilly to where you end up with these idiots rapping over it. I mean, maybe, listen, if someone does a good job with the track and raps over it well or uses the track well, that's different. But what tends to happen is these people get a hold of these songs and they just absolutely fucking butcher them. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would make me very sad if like Led Zeppelin ended up fucking getting the Rickroll treatment. But yeah, I don't know. Should we try and get back in topic a little bit with the guitar talk maybe as we round this out here in the last 30 minutes?
Yeah.
I don't know. We talk about, I don't know, like what was the favorite guitar song that you learned? Like what was like a guitar song that you learned that's to this day sticks with you, that you still enjoy playing and listening to?
I asked the song that I sort of wrote, I guess. So that like pirate ship song or whatever you call it. It's like I just titled it like "Song of the Sea." I can just give them a little thing just in case you guys want to play it. It's just A minor, C, and G. So my friend Adam said to me, I was like, man, I like some strummy songs. Give me like strum. He's like, oh, you could just do and it's some song where we're just like. So it goes like da di da di 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 da di 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 da, and I was like, oh man, that's like a piratey as fuck. So da di da di 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 da di di da. So then I would do like these little like hammer-ons with the pinky because I was learning how to do the pinky, and so I will fuck around with that like all day. Well, not all day. So typically what I'll do is I'll go and I'll like play that song and I'll jam around on it. And then I'll move that song into like Smurf Tears. Like I got a finger picking intro for that song, and then I got like an outro, and then we'll go into Smurf's Tears, and I'll be playing Smurf's Tears for a bit, and then I don't know. Oh Calmly from Neutral Milk Hotel. It's just really long. It's like they're all like I'll play just like chords and sing, and then I'll just try to like play off the chords a little bit sometimes. Like recently I was telling you I learned what's it called?
Oh, the Radiohead. Yeah, Jigsaw Falling into Place. Yeah.
And it's like was it oh no, it's I forget it now, but I mean like we'll get it. It's like B minor, and then it slides down. Oh, and then it's like it's not an A, but it's like an A thing, and then just those ones.
Right.
And then we got like a how'd that go? I think it went like G or something. It'll come back to me, of course, when like the pressure's off. But
right.
Yeah, so I've been messing around with that. And then the song that my friend Murray, started playing and taught me. So those ones are like my favorite songs. Would they be ones that either I learned, like the Radiohead is just my current one. That's just like the one I'm currently playing. But yeah, it'll be ones that like have some sort of like sentimentalness to them. Like I'll still play the Ben Harper Burn One Down, but I'll always play it like a little bit different. So it's typically it's like but I'll be like I'll like be strumming it and stuff, and I'll change up the melody or whatever, just keep the timing of it. Sometimes I'll put the capos on, do the frets do the songs at different things. So yeah, for one that's like not like an original that I kept playing, I'm trying to think of like, so there's definitely Two Coins by Dispatch. I play that one a lot because the friend group that I started playing guitars with, they all know it, so they all sing it. So it's one of like the go-tos when we're all like together and stuff. There's one guy, Josh, who loves the song Creep. And so
I wasn't playing Creep, I was playing Karma Police, sorry.
Yeah, you're playing Karma Police over here, but he loves the song Creep. So there's another guy who loves the Seven Nation Arm.
Oh god.
do. So you know, those ones we keep them in mind. Yeah, I guess yeah. So yeah, I would say it's the one that I've created. Now I've created more. Like there's like I've just little, but I really haven't expanded upon the other songs as much as I have as like the Song of the Sea. Like it's got like the
Mm.
intro and stuff. So
Mm.
and it's got lyrics to it as well, and it's got his whole thing. It's got his outro and all that. And then the other ones are just kind of have like uh as like I would say they're insignificant, but like yeah, I just haven't worked them out as much.
Mm.
But I got like a little bit of a backlog. Also, I like to play a lot of Neutral Milk Hotel. I like the lyrics, just I guess like the style of like lyrical progression. A lot of the lyrics I don't know what the fuck he's going on about, but it's like
Yeah.
right on. Like it's right on. It's just
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it was like Matt Good for me. I love Matt Good's style of songwriting. We did a show recently, and I had like a couple people come up and be like, "Oh yeah, Matt Good." I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "All right, yeah." Some of the songs that I had written that I played, and I think that's a compliment. I think I don't know, but I've always been into like Leaky's more of like. I mean, I like acoustic guitar too. I always vibed for myself with like Jimmy Page. He was like kind of I'm definitely more of a sloppier player naturally. Like I'm not a really precise player. I always vibe, but Jimmy Page's playing style was always kind of sloppy. Like this is, I'll kind of like fuck around. This is a song. My favorite Led Zeppelin song is called Achilles' Last Stand. And the solo in it is something that I've always really loved. I think I remember to play it. Oh, okay. Oh, here it goes. But he's really kind of slurry. I kind of did this earlier. Anyway, that's kind of like it was like almost it almost sounds like he's out of control, but he still hits these notes in the song that I love. Like one of them is he goes right. Fuck. Like just the use of the pentatonic scale like that. He does these things where like that's a really generic pattern that he's using, but his use of those notes like. It's just cool. I love Jimmy Page's solo stuff, but that was something for me that growing up I always loved. I like the acoustic stuff too, though. Like I think we both like those kind of songs. Like I forgot how to play Car Place. I remember we played it once with all those guys, like your boys there. But that's a really good song to play people. That's something that's understated though, and like I mean that's something you have. I'm growing up. One of the person here, my friend group is here. That we like to have a group of people sit around like a fire, have drinks, and then all sing a song together. Again, it's something tribal that a lot of people don't have. And like I never had growing up really. And I remember I had that when we were at your camp that one time and we were all very intoxicated and me and your buddy got his guitar out and we just started playing Car Police for everybody and it was probably like 15 people just started singing along and I was like, man, like it was moving. It's like a spiritual thing. It's deep. It's important. And you know, I feel bad for people that haven't experienced that. And I don't know. It's something, again, it's something I think that we as like I don't know, a species, but like a culture lost at least. Because so many people in our culture, I don't know what other cultures are like, but we just lost that kind of camaraderie and that time through the week that, you know, we spend at the end of the week, that we spend together doing these kinds of spiritual things. And that's really what it is. You know, like going to church is like, that's like low tier spiritual stuff. That kind of stuff, like sitting around singing songs with people, having a good time. That's real. That's truly spiritual things. Like, but yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. The nylon strings are great for beginners. That's what I did.
Yeah.
The calluses sometimes can get a little out of hand, especially if you're not playing constantly. So, switched my guitar to nylon strings. Not this one. This one is now like steel string. This one needs string change. But and yeah, that helped a lot too, because sometimes that can be a little bit of a block in, you know. I mean, you eventually get calluses, and you get a new appreciation for keeping your fingernails short too, playing guitar, because like they will fuck with the fretboard and stuff.
Yeah.
What else?
It always hurts though. Just a side note, I've been playing for about 21 years, and to this day, if you don't, like, my fingertips hurt because I've been practicing a lot with my band, and I've been trying to get this fucking guitar working through the stream. Of which I've got to shut the amp off here. It's buzzing again. But it still hurts. It will always hurt to some degree, especially if you're playing a lot and you're playing a lot, like on the fretboard too. There's just always going to be pain there, but it does get a bit easier. I forget honestly what it was like to first start playing because it was so long ago and I was a kid when I did. But I've heard people say it's unbelievably painful, to play on like a steel string. Steel string acoustic is the hardest thing to play on though, especially a full size one. Like, you got heavy fucking strings on that bitch. Good luck. You bend in anything, you're not going to. So, but yeah, I don't know, Leaky. I mean,
again, it is kind of a country-ish. Like, my family, the other day, was that my parents? My grandmother was there, and she asked me to play some country songs, and I just was like, I was kind of embarrassed because like, I don't really know any country songs.
Hold my beer while I kiss your girlfriend. Nanny, like that one? You know that one?
Played her "Oh Calmly," and I had to fudge some of the lyrics because it's like I didn't want to my grandmother hear me singing the word semen or like anything about like whatever, so it's what it is. I don't know. Yeah, but play the music you love though. But you always do run into that sort of like play Wonderwall or something.
Oh Jesus, yeah. I would have, my experience over the years as a guitar player, parties if I'm playing, and I'm like, no, fuck you, like that. I hate that one more than any other song. I have to say that one's bad. What's some other guitar songs? If you're gonna learn to play guitar and you're around people that don't play the guitar themselves, and there's Wonderwall. Karma Police is one that gets requested, but I don't mind that because I liked Radiohead's like a great band, obviously. Wonderwall. Fuck, what's another one? Walk This Way, Aerosmith. You get like, oh fuck. What are some ones off the top of your head now? Oh, I'm terrible.
Jesus Christ, Walk This Way. We don't. I never get like any Who. I never get really Blind Melon unless you're around a crowd that knows Blind Melon.
What is?
Honestly, the White Stripes one was the most recent.
That's one too.
I
Yeah.
I didn't. I was like, oh man, Seven Nation Army. Like, it is an easy one to. If I don't know, fucking. I don't even remember
Oh, come on now. I was gonna say there's one. Highway to Hell is one that. I was gonna pull the tab up here right now. Hold on. Yeah. What is it? Here. Yeah. that one gets a lot. Highway to Hell is one that I've gotten a lot. I just pulled the tab up here a second if I could fucking. I actually don't remember how to play it. How does he go? What the fuck? This isn't right, is it? This is live guitar playing. Oh, I see what he's doing here. Hold on. Do I see what he's doing here? Oh, Jesus.
Enter Sandman. That's it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's any Metallica gets requested, but I mean, I think it rightly so though. They're a good fucking band to play, yeah. But what is the Enter the Sandman? That's another one. I learned quite a few Metallica songs back in the day, but again, like all this stuff in my mind now is like so.
So this is my first time ever playing Wonderwall. 2 days gonna be the 2 days, gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now, you should have somehow realized what you get to do. I can't. So C89 was it? I can't. That would be. I can't believe that anybody feels the way I do. I bet you now. Okay, no, it's. I can't. I bet you now. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. It's not hard to play. It's not hard to play at all. I messed up the chords a little bit, but yeah. Easy as that, and all that's not even you don't even need to practice that much to do that one. Okay, pick that one up real easy. You're just gonna get your chords down. Once you get your chords down,
Where is
and
he?
then there's the whole thing where it's like this is a G and this is a G, and somewhere's around here there's probably a G too.
Is this
And
the?
you get your suspended 4, A7, your minor 7, your minors, C add 9, whatever the fuck that is. You know? I do C add 9 all the fucking time. I sort of swear, but enthusiastic about fucking C add 9.
Interesting. E D G B G key of A. I don't know. Yeah, I'm terrible at learning songs too, honestly. But anything by Oasis? Oh, Neil Young. Yeah. What's the fucking? You get some Neil. What? What's Oh.
I'm gonna learn it. Fuck it. I'll never turn down that request now. Oh, I used to learn all the Filthy Frank songs. I was learning mad Filthy Frank songs like 4 years ago. And I got a ukulele to do it too. And it was a great experience, to be honest. He's got some fun stuff. He's got some awkward stuff to sing for the ukulele. That are friends that you know for years, but what do you got now? What do you got to lose? Fun. It's fun with your lives. Ben Harper. Just like that, a lot of Ben Harper. I can't hear you anymore, Jim.
Oh, you can't. Oh. I think it's going through the stream. Okay. It might just not be picking up for you. Should be going through the stream. Yeah. Oh yeah. Humble song request. That was what's that called again? That's my favorite Neil Young song. Fuck, I forget what it's called.
Dust in the Wind?
No, it's not Neil Young. It's Kansas. It's Jerry's gone, but it's gone forgotten. Hey, my. That's my favorite Neil Young song. Yeah.
Bob Dylan. I used to do a lot of what was the one? Oh my fucking god.
Yeah.
Anchor learn how to swim. What the fuck are the lyrics to it? Oh my god.
Joe Rogan, yeah.
Lyrics to song. After Rogan.
Mm.
Yeah, Neil Young pulled out. He was like, fuck Spotify and Joe Rogan and his
Oh, Neil,
misinformation
you're
he's
relevant,
done.
Neil, 50 years ago, bud. Like, come on, put your dick back in your fucking old jeans. Does he not understand what free speech is? How do these fucking idiots, these artists, not understand what free speech is? Like, I don't agree with him on this podcast. He said the N-word fucking 6 times. It's like, well, what was the context of that exactly? Like, come on now. I think most people have come to terms with the fact.
What?
that
I
was
thought he
emotion.
was. I thought was mad about the COVID misinformation.
Well, was that what it was about with him? No, I thought it was. Oh, was it that?
He's had like there's been like controversies. I don't know. Galen, do you remember why Neil Young pulled out? Was it Joe Rogan's a racist or was it Joe Rogan's a misinformation spreader?
I think
Or was it
you're.
both?
I think you're right. I think it was a misinformation for him. There was someone else that pulled out after the Joe Rogan N-word controversy, which honestly, for both of those things, was kind of just unjustified. Even the COVID misinformation, like there was a massive misinformation campaign by all the fucking governments, and we're not going to get into that on this platform. Care what you say, Jim. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Fucking-
Yes, sir. Well, we'll have to at some point like have a proper jam on here. I think we're gonna get Leaky's guitar hooked up for anyone that catches this podcast. We're gonna get his guitar hooked up proper next time so we can have like an actual jam maybe. It'd
be crazy if we could do it in Discord. We could get together too. I mean, right?
Oh, I think
Just
well,
get
I think
like-
we can. We
space.
we're definitely in time. If I can feed you my guitar sound live, and then I'll hear your guitar sound live, or we can just both use acoustics and get around this whole fucking electric guitar thing, and that'd probably be the easiest. Because once you plug the acoustic into this input, it's a lot more it's a lot louder, obviously, in the electric. Yeah, In Too Deep by Sum 41 now. I'm gonna decline
What's that one? Sing with me, sing for the years, sing for the
Oh,
rest,
that's
sing for
Aerosmith.
tears.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Jungle. Does that one is that a guitar one? That's
yeah.
I think that's just a popular. I don't know if people ask for that on guitar as much, but
I think they do. Yeah.
good Guns N' Roses.
I don't know what he even does for that, honestly. I mean, I've learned it in the past, but yeah. That's he uses a delay with that song, so like to have it sound like that, it wouldn't really sound right, honestly. But yeah. I know Led Zeppelin's ones that I mean I'm fairly knowledgeable of Led Zeppelin, but not that we want to keep fucking playing this, but oh fuck, how does it even go? There we go. It's called The Rover. That's probably one of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs, but I know them, but I don't know a lot of these other bands.
Okay, here we go. We got 18 songs people always ask a guitarist to play. What do we got here? Okay, so I'm gonna roll down here. I can't get my finger. So number 1, Leonard Skinner, Free Bird. Free
Really?
Bird. Number 2, Oasis Wonderwall. Who saw that one coming? Number 3, Don McLean, American Pie.
Oh,
By-
my Miss
My Miss
American
American
Pie.
Pie.
Good shit, but the levee was dry. Old boys singing whiskey and rye,
Oh,
singing
my.
"This'll be the guy that I kiss." Or is that the right one? Is that how it goes?
Oh my
That'll be the guy that I kiss. Yeah.
Ed Sheeran, Thinking Out Loud at number 4.
Yeah.
I dislike that song because I used to like Ed Sheeran until I think he made that song. Play the Gambler. Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven, number 5.
Oh my god, yeah.
And she's buying a stairway. Get puppies for a bit. Okay. Number 6. Hotel California.
Mm,
Welcome to the Hotel California.
yeah.
Lovely place.
That's a good one, yeah.
Number 7, Green Day, Good Riddance, Time of Your Life.
Oh, yeah. It's like at the high school, end of high school.
Yeah.
Classic
Yeah.
end of high school.
Yeah.
Give me time of your life.
Now, number 8, we've got The House of the Rising Sun by the Animals.
Remember
Yeah, I play Bob Dylan, House of the Rising Sun, which I guess is like same shit, I suppose. Number 9, Wilson Pickett, Mustang Sally.
Never heard of that song.
Let's give a listen. So the first lyric is like Mustang Sally. So and so I don't know. I've never heard it.
Yeah, I never heard that before either.
Bob Marley Redemption song. They'd have to Google that one, but I know this song. I like this song. I don't know if it's really one that's. I don't know if that would be requested, but yeah, who knows? So number 11, Bob Dylan, Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Oh, yeah.
Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Number 12, Daft Punk, Get Lucky.
Oh, that's a pop. I've jammed to that song with some buddies of mine. Yeah, that's a popular one. Yeah.
Nice. 13, Metallica, Enter Sandman.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. Justin Bieber, Love Yourself at number 14. That's another song I haven't heard. Not
I
that
see.
I'm not aware of the Bieber or whatever. Robbie Williams, Angels. I don't know that song.
Yeah, I don't know that one either.
Fucking ad going. Let's just pause it. We're not gonna figure out what that one is. So the Killers, Mr. Brightside at number 16.
Yeah. Actually, the guy who plays drums with me, Steve, he just went to go see them live in Montreal. I guess it was
Oh,
amazing.
he's got beer on his shirt, and he's gum in his hair, and he's walking outside, and he trips on his face, and that's the one, right?
Is that the? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You say he's got cum in his hair?
I was just thinking of it's like he
Yeah,
takes off her dress now. Let me go.
Fug.
Jealousy. Do. You know. Living on a Prayer, Bon Jovi, number 17.
Yeah. I'm trying. Yeah, I guess this makes sense. So I think there's a couple things missing. That "Dream On" by Aerosmith I thought would have been way the fuck down there, but I guess that's not. It is a guitar song.
And then
Fuck.
Valerie Mark Robinson featuring Amy Winehouse for the last one at 18. I don't know that
what
one.
the fuck? Yeah, no. There's a couple on there that shouldn't have been on there, for Christ's sake. But this is like a Zoomer fucking list. This is a Zoomer list. They don't know the classic. They don't know the what are we called again? Millennials.
Millennials.
We're the millennial list. The millennial list is kind of more similar to the boomer list. The boomer list is the classic, like dad. All the dads that would ask me as a kid, "You fucking play Purple Haze there, bud?" And I go, bump, bump, bump.
Oh,
Fuck, I can't.
Blackbird, Dust in the Wind. Have you ever seen the rain? Fire and Rain, Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Yeah.
Crazy Little Things Called Love, Pink Moon, Better Together, Wonderwall. Who Says Photograph? Some of these I don't know, but No Rain. There's No Rain. We know that. Behind Blue Eyes.
What's a Goo Goo Dolls song? Fucking and I took out a man. That's one that people have requested. I forget what the fuck it's called.
Stuck in the Middle with You. There's Redemption Song again by Bob Marley. I didn't know that was so popular. Freaker by the Speaker, Keller Williams. That's the guy. Okay, so yeah, so Keller Williams has like this one song or whatever, which is really good. And he's very like he slaps the guitar and fucking he's really like fast, plucky, finger picking style kind of. Here Comes the Sun, Big Yellow Taxi, California Dreamin'. That's a good one. This is like the top 75 here. I'm just skimming down. I'm just staring at the ones that I know. Wish You Were Here. That's another one. I like Karen. Joker by the Steve Miller Band. I haven't listened to a lot of Fleetwood Mac. Never Going Back Again is on here. Brown Eyed Girl. Pinch Me. We're like down to 59 here. Jolene. You guys heard that. Stairway to Heaven. There she goes. Drive by Incubus. I don't know what that one is. You're So Vain. Give a Little Bit. Lola. The Kinks. Okay. Like Lola. Pinball Wizard. The Who. Hotel California at 74. See, on this list, Hotel California is at 74. On the other one, it was like at wherever it was. Up there. Yeah. Smells Like Teen Spirit. Oh, we've never seen that one. I don't know. No one.
Oh, that's
Not
yeah,
a
that's a
single
fucking
Nirvana
yeah.
song. Not a single Nirvana song on requested for
Oh, fuck.
just grunge. Keep it casual. Casual, can't bring it.
Yeah, send it off. Send it off. We'll send it off in a fucking hide. Send it off with a copyright strike. Fuck.
Episode 12. AM style.
Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke. Yeah. Oh god, jeez. I don't know that song, but I know what it is. Anyway, yeah, we should probably wrap this up here now. The end the Casual Cats guitar history episode. We are on for 2 hours here now, so
This puppers here needs to go pee. He's telling me you need to go pee.
Yeah.
Go pee. I'll get you. Get you in a bit.
yeah,
You gotta say goodbye to the good people.
yeah,
Okay,
we're
you
gonna
got it.
wrap this up. So we get to do another on location. Actually, we should probably do that like in the weekend or something, like on Sunday or something like that. I don't fucking know, but we also got to promote this podcast more to get more viewership in here. That's something that needs to happen. We'll have to start to officially promote this from now on.
Very time consuming, but
Well,
we'll
yeah,
have to do
and
it.
financially consuming to pay for the ads and whatnot to get people in. But
Yeah.
we're going to work on that. Otherwise, listen, guys, there's a big back catalog of episodes. Anyone that is in here has never seen this before, listen, check out our Spotify. We've been streaming to multiple platforms. I forget every time we do this now. We're at Trovo, YouTube, Twitch. Where the fuck else are we? Facebook. We want to get on TikTok. Fuck, we still don't have a TikTok stream key. Fuck them. No, we love you, TikTok. Please give us a stream key.
We bring you many viewers, many
Yeah.
content, just like Tate. We bring you content just like Tate.
We
Like
just
that.
need a Bugatti, and then we'll fucking get on the road.
Bugatti.
We do the Casual Cat Bugatti, fucking lavender and yellow fucking
Yeah.
gold Bugatti.
That's who we should have done naked in front of the Porsche. It should have been Tate naked in front of the Bugatti.
Well,
Okay.
we'll generate the AI after this. We
Yeah.
close this down here. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go generate some inappropriate, not safe for work AI. So
Yeah, we're gonna do
AI
some
art.
not safe for work Tate.